Okay, we're going to continue to follow up on this. Is from Eddie Toronato's book, uh, "Winning the Lottery," using the law of attraction. That's a paraphrase, paraquote, whatever you want to call it. And in here he talks about something I wanted to point out, and I think needs some further analysis. He talks about here in on one part here. He says that the nature of the universal spirit responds through effortless expression based on what you are passionate about. Effortless expression. The nature of the universal spirit responds through effortless expressions based on what you are passionate about. He goes on to say that if you are passionate about manifesting money through the law of attraction, then the power will respond with mathematical certainty. That's the vocabulary that he uses. To your beliefs, he says. As you persist in feelings of the wish fulfilled. In other words, as you persist in the feelings of having had this thing. Okay, but when I looked at it, I have to admit, uh, this was in response to a question. The person, it says, what if if I try to force the universe to do what you wanted to do? And that was his response to that statement, was the nature of the universal spirit responds through effortless expression. Now, he was talking about people getting frustrated and trying to force it. Now, that's what I want to talk about. Now, we're human beings. Everybody's on a different level. And again, one of the things I talked about earlier is that you have to be uh, forgiving of your own vehicle, this vehicle here. Up until this moment, when you're starting to listen to these things, I mean, it's been willy-nilly, haphazard, slipshod, thoughts flying every which way, whatever they want to do. I mean, other than your personal conviction, you just won't outright murder somebody. I mean, you won't rape anybody, you won't kidnap, you won't steal something that don't belong to you just because you can do it. You have your basic principles. But other than that, most people just, I haven't been doing it for 62 years, but most people who are not spiritually aware have had haphazard thoughts flying through their mind space willy-nilly. No discipline, no structure, no anything. So, I mean, what we're introducing you to here, depending on and then there are those people who are naturally like a Whitney Houston. They're just born with a voice. Some people are born gifted as an X-Men. I call them X-people. They're people who are extraordinary. That's what the word X-Men comes from. Extraordinary people. And some people are born that way. So this information that I'm giving to you is going to work different for everybody. And the thing you got to keep in mind to help motivate you to stay on this path, stay focused, stay on point, stay focused, stay on point, never ever give up. That is your key to success. Never give up. Never quit till the day you die. Till the day your vehicle ceases to function. You keep going. You ain't got nothing to lose. You're crazy if you don't stay on this path. As you gain more knowledge, use it. Don't tell nobody about it. Just use it. Put it into practice. It's in your mind. Nobody knows what you're thinking, what you're doing, what you're exercising, what you're practicing. Only you're aware of that. You don't have to tell everybody. I agree with them on that, except your children. Especially if you see you know, if they have the aptitude or they have the patience, and you can see they want to know truth. That the reason I'm putting this information out here is not for everybody. And everybody, if you see somebody is not even listening, don't keep talking to them. Let them forget about them. I don't care who it is, even if it's your child. Forget about them. You keep, and what you reach out is to all children. Don't make it personal. This is not personal. This is for all young people who are ready. And I've talked about this before. If you're ready, you're going to have ears to hear. You're going to have eyes to see. See? And truth has a sound to it. See? It has a sound. And everybody who's righteous in the middle, seeking knowledge, seeking truth, seeking skills and information that's going to empower them to create and do whatever they want in this world, they know the sound of that information. They know the sound of those tools. They know the look of those tools. They know the look of the people who are righteous, because righteous people know other righteous people. Gangsters know other gangsters. Criminals know other criminals. Killers and murderers and psychopaths know other killers, murderers, and psychopaths. That's birds of a feather flock together. Okay? But what I'm talking about is the righteous person who is seeking truth. When you start speaking this truth, the only people going to come to this YouTube channel and watch these movies that I'm putting out are the people that are ready. And it's not that I wish any ill will to those that are not ready. I don't have any one way or another. I don't feel anything. It's just neutral. It's very neutral. I'm talking to you, the one who is ready. That's who I'm talking to. And you know what I mean. So when I give you this information, you take each one of these things and put it in your tool chest. Pull it out and use it. Practice it. See another situation. Oh, pull that other tool out. Use that. When you see your mind is getting out of control, stop. Take everything. Say, get out of here. Let's clean the slate. Now, here's what I want in this mind space and what I want to be thinking about. That's how you have to attack this. You have to be brutal about gaining control of your mind space. Be unforgiving when you're in the act of cleaning your mind space. You see a lot of nonsense coming through. You take a deep breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Do it 3 times. In through the nose, out through the mouth. You're concentrating on the breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Now, while you're doing that, you're changing the focus. So that's one of your tools. 3 breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. That's your tool to break the cycle of the thoughts that are coming through that you don't want at that time. That's called taking charge of your mind space. And you're going to have to do this big time. Get ready for that. Do you think this vehicle that you don't let run rampant for 50 or 40 or 30 or however many years you don't let it do whatever the hell it wants to, mind-wise, you think it's going to just give up? Hell no. It's going to take months or years or so. And I've been doing this for 20 years. Okay? But this me. You might be able to do it in 2 months. You're a totally different person. You can't go by what happened with me. My family is so dysfunctional on so many different levels mentally that that's just how it is. And I don't mean they're not normal. It's just that they're like everybody else. You know, they think that seeing is believing. And the secret and what we're talking about here is the exact opposite. Everything in our existence, in our environment right now, in our upbringing, has been based on seeing is believing. It's been based on a reactionary strategy. In other words, after something happens, then you start thinking and feeling a certain way. And the secret is telling us point blank that is not the strategy and the tactic of a what I call a magician, of the righteous man, of a self-actualized person. First of all, you accept that you are God. You accept that you were born with the authority by simply the use of your thoughts to create and manifest everything you see in this world. Now, once you accept that, now you got to get to work. You got to gain control of this mind space right here. My next book I want to write, I did an essay on it, and I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to make sure I publish it on Facebook. It's called Mind Time. And I published that because I knew just that part of this reality and this truth of being self-actualized, of us being micro gods, it intuitively came to me. Because I knew from my study and training back 40 years ago when I started spiritual culture, when I was 22, I had to learn how to meditate. And I would meditate and say, wow, look at all these thoughts. And I remember when I was a little boy, just thoughts were flying through my head. And what happens with most young people, they try to speak as fast as they think. And you know what I'm talking about. Especially if you're a young person watching this, you always try to speak. That's why young people speak so fast and they do everything so fast, because their mind, the thoughts are flying through it like thousands of miles an hour. That's why they have no attention span. Not all, but the average one will basically have little to no attention span, because the focusing is not something that comes naturally. You have to be trained to control these thoughts. That's why those that are born to like spiritual people right off the bat, and they see their parents doing it, they see their bigger brother doing it early, oh, they get it right away, especially if they are predisposed, genetically predisposed to that kind of mentality. Some people are born to a genetic predisposition in their vehicle where they're a lot more tolerant and patient. My family's not one of them. And of the people in my family, I'm definitely not one of those people. My thoughts when I was a little boy, and everybody, to this day, everybody tells me slow down. So I'm working with what I got. That's what you're going to have to do, work with what you got. But the rules are still the same. Rules not going to change for me. They're not going to change for you either. You got to get with the rules. These rules are immutable, means they are unchangeable. You cannot change them. You can use different tactics to accomplish your goal, which you're trying to accomplish. And I encourage you, just be open-minded, but at the same time, moderation in all things. And that means moderation on how long you take control of your mind space in the beginning. Step by step, little by little. That's the approach. That's the winning tactic. Step by step, little by little. That's how you're going to accomplish this. Just like when you learn to walk. You couldn't walk the first day. You couldn't walk the second day. Couldn't walk the third or fourth day, depending on what your genetic predisposition is. That genetic predisposition has to be factored in. Everybody's born to a different kind of leaf on the tree of life. Some people are born to Usain Bolt's family. Some people are born to Whitney Houston's family. Some people are born to some other wildly intelligent or wildly talented person who is extraordinary, who has done the work. Like Michael Jordan wasn't born a great basketball star. He did work for decades to get to where he was. Some people have to work to get it. Some people are born like Whitney, naturally with it. They ain't have to do nothing. Okay, just open them out, start singing. Singing is easy, one of them things. You just got it or you don't. You can't learn. You can learn vocal tactics and vocal tricks. But if you don't have a voice, you can forget it. You'll just never make it in that business. You just don't have an extraordinary voice. You have to have, in that business, you have to have an extraordinary voice. She happened to be genetically predisposed. But look at the rest of her life. Look how she carried herself. She's a mess. So you gotta consider the genetic, predisposition of the vehicle that you are born in. You are not the vehicle. I was born into this vehicle. All of the things that happen to this vehicle, some of the illnesses and things that are going to befall this vehicle have nothing to do. I don't care what I think about. There's a genetic predisposition that was born with this vehicle. I'm not the vehicle. I don't take it personal. If the vehicle has a lot, like my vehicle has a lot of gout, I can't take beef. I have a lot of rheumatoid problems. I had that problem from when I went into basic training in the military. That's the genetic predisposition of this vehicle. When I was a little boy, I was sick constantly. Fevers, infections, left and right. And it was probably coming from milk. My mother was giving me milk, and I was allergic, and back then nobody knew that human beings are not supposed to be drinking cow's milk. So now they came up with Similac, a facsimile of lactose, which is milk or mother's milk. The mother's milk, they wasn't giving it that no more, so they went and gave her cow's milk. And look what happened, a plethora, cacophony of diseases and illnesses and infections, all mucous membrane problems. Who knew? Some people knew, but most average, hell, we were just coming out of slavery and segregation. Still, a lot of places around here segregated. We just getting started here. There wasn't even no such thing as an African American before 300-400 years ago. You got to get your head around this, folks. You got to not be so hard on yourself, because you got to see, when you know your history. Then that's me. My thing is, and I encourage you, I deplore you, please learn the history of your genetic genealogy, and of your racial group, and your find out what country your vehicle came from, and where the lineage of your vehicle may see. I know that my vehicle's lineage stems all the way, not Bahamas is where they brought you to. That don't work. That's diaspora. That's where they spread out into that. The origin of my particular culture, my particular genealogical pool, is in Nigeria. I've seen brothers that looked exactly like me. Scared me and thought it was me. I said, can't be me. I'm here. And so now you got to go and find out. Well, in the last 152 years, how many people have had tumors? How many people have had gout? How many people have had this or how that? Then you're going to find out. Oh, so no matter what I do, is predisposed. This is what's going to happen. But see, you can't. The only reason I bring all that up is so you understand. There's certain things. I don't care how much there are limits. Everything has a limit, because we are in a limited form. We are an unlimited spirit in a limited form. Two, there's always a duality. Unlimited spirit, limited vehicle. They call it balance. Okay, so you work with what you got. Work with what you got. Don't worry about the rest. See, at least now you know. See, before people had no clue. You go, why is this happening to me? I'm eating right. I'm doing right. I'm eating the grains. I'm drinking this. Lots of water. I'm meditating. I'm breathing right. I'm exercising. I'm doing that. I'm still coming down with multiple sclerosis. Knowledge is power. Two things you get out of that: some things are predisposed to happen to you. That's just the vehicle you were born in. The good news is, whatever takes out this vehicle, it ain't taking you out. It's taking the vehicle out. It's taking all the only downside of losing the vehicle is, since we are here to feel, that is our task, is to feel stuff. That's why, because the universal spirit can't feel anything. It doesn't feel anything. Get your head around that. 2, microcosmic feels everything. Macrocosmic being feels nothing. 2, always 2. 2 situation balance. We are here to feel, but the spiritual thing that's coming through us does not die. See? So you have something that dies that's carrying something that never dies. And that part of us that never dies, for the first time in its existence, can finally feel something. Get your head around that. That's my conclusion, folks. See? And I'm owning that. I've never heard anybody say that. I'm owning this sucker. They talk all around it. They beat all around the bush. And yeah, everybody talk. And some people very intelligently, and but their focus and their priority is on another aspect of this. They do not focus on the fact that an non-feeling macro entity has put itself into this microcosmic situation so it can feel something. That's why we feel so much. That's why this vehicle is the only way it can feel it is alive. I remember I saw a movie with Hugh Jackman. It was called Van Helsing. Van Helsing was this, he was like a monster killer, a vampire killer, or anything that was deadly, or demons and things like that. He was a demon killer or a negative spirit killer. And that's just the theatrical license. But the point, and that's why I say a lot of these movies, when you become a spiritual person and a righteous person and you self-actualize, you will see the truth all over the place in different things where most people just totally go right over their head. They just forget it. But in that movie, Frankenstein was who had created the Frankenstein monster. The monster itself was being sought after by this vampire who was trying to harness the energy that Frankenstein, the professor, was able to put into this monster. He wanted to use that energy in order to create his own children for the first time. A vampire cannot have children. So he was trying to use the same experimental tactics that Frankenstein used on this monster so that he could have kids. Anyway, that didn't work. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is when Van Helsing came over to help free the monster, because the vampire had captured the monster in order to try to use him to recreate the experiment. When Van Helsing came over and ripped the electrodes out of the monster, he screamed and hollered and he said, "Why?" He said, "That hurts." And Van Helsing said, "That lets you know you're alive." And when he made that one statement, it is like it triggered what would help me to come to the understanding or the realization of what I'm telling you now. Feelings, both pain, sorrow, happiness, joy, ecstasy, sexual pleasure, all these things from wherever you get it from. The reason why I tell everybody, don't get hung up on the how. There are some feelings you have to control. You know what they are. See, if you have a moral compass as to what's right and what's wrong, you know. You have a moral center, you know. I'm not even going to get into that. You have a moral center, you know. You know what you should do and what you should not do. I'm not even going to start citing examples, wasting time. You know, okay? But the point is, this whole experience here is about feeling. So that's why the way it's all set up, this is my conclusion. You can't take any of these memories and any of these feelings and everything you got here into the next life. Because that's going to spoil the whole purpose. When you get into the next life, you're supposed to have a whole brand new set of feelings to transmit back to the spirit, to the macro spirit that cannot feel anything. That's why we exist. So therefore, that's the motivation behind our existence as a microcosmic expression of the macrocosmic self. That's why in the Bible it makes some reference to we. That's why we did this. The we is you, the microcosmic spirit, riding in this vehicle, creating thoughts that's going to the subconscious mind, and the both of us together, we make up the macro. That's the Holy Trinity. You, the spirit, micro, riding in the microcosmic vehicle, transmitting thoughts to the subconscious, which is a whole nother a manufacturing element of the universal spirit, the big dog. Everything else is in and under the big dog. And the big dog absolutely does no talking to you and does no feeling at all. That's why the subconscious mind, that is machine that's creating everything, you can forget about that having any feelings other than gratitude. And there are certain things that are grease the wheels. Gratitude, and it's really not the subconscious it's you clearing up your mind. It's the quality of the message you're sending. When you have gratitude, you can't have frustration and gratitude at the same time. You got to have either or, and one cancels out the other. So that's why you have to try to do more gratitude and less frustration. But you're going to have frustration. That's part of why I made this movie, was to talk about the reality. And I'm bringing it up so I don't want you to be discouraged, because you are going to be frustrated. That's called the growth process. I went through it with meditating and all of that until I finally found out I don't have to work so hard. Just relax. Listen to don't try to not hear the sounds of the cars going by on the highway outside the window. Inculcate them. Because the whole goal of meditating is to feel your oneness with all things. And in your acceptance of all things, you're able to put them in their proper place, and they no longer, and that creates a distinction between you, the universal, you, the microcosmic spirit, or the universal spirit coming through this microcosmic being into this vessel. Every once in a while, you got to reconnect with that. You got to reconnect with who you really are. So you see the distinction between your vehicle, your ears, those things that have come, the sounds that are coming in through your ears and all that stuff, and understand that they're not you. That your ears that are picking up all the sound, that's not you. That's not who I am. I am the watcher. I am that which is hearing. I am the listener. I'm not the ears that are picking it up. In one sense, you're not. As a microcosmic You need to understand your separation as your role as the microcosmic expression of the universal spirit. That's your role. Okay, you got to understand that separation. But as the macrocosmic being, which you always are, you're everything, all the time, everywhere, at the same time. So in order to experience that oneness with self truly, you have to stand still and almost stop being a microcosmic being and stand still and be the macrocosmic being, which is to be a part and aware of everything. And I mean everything. Don't let nobody tell you you can't do that. That's like telling somebody you can't be you. If you accept the expression that God is omnipotent and omnipresent, as most Christians do believe, and most all religions believe. You know what the word religion means? It means to reconnect. To what? To who you are. Reconnect. Religion. That's what it's for. That's not what they do. And if they are doing it, they do a piss poor job at it. I'll tell you that. And maybe it's because they're so new. They're just new. In the scheme of existence, which is unlimited, religions are new. Religion's only been in existence probably for maybe, a couple thousand, 10, 20,000 years. That's nothing. That's a nanite in outer space. Compared to outer space, it's a nanite. You can't even see that. That's how small it is. You got to get your head around who you are and what you are. Then you know why I tell you all this? So you will understand the magnitude of who and what you are. Get your head around that. So you will stop associating and hugging up on this vehicle like it is the be all and end all of everything. It's not. It's just a temporary vessel that you, as a microcosm, you peel the self part of yourself off and put it in there just so you can feel something. Because otherwise you're so big, you can't feel nothing. That's why I tell people I don't even get into God. I'm not even going to deal with you with that because I already got that. I'm good with God. I'm good with myself as God. Okay, and I can talk to you with a sense of confidence and a sense of certainty about God. So I'm talking about myself, talking about you, talking about all of us. Everything in existence is God. But we have a role to play. So I want to be able, that's why the name of my book is The Anatomy. I'm teaching you the components. I'm teaching you, and a lot of the components I'm talking about are metaphysical. This vehicle is physical, but when I talk about the microcosmic being as separate from God itself, the macrocosmic being as separate from the subconscious, in perspective, we're separate. In function, we're separate. But in reality, we are not separate. We are never separate. You cannot be separate. But you can have, for the sake of structure, you can have separation for the sake of function, for the sake of articulating function. Okay? For the sake of articulating perspective. See, right now I'm in the perspective of being Russell, the microcosmic spirit that is in a vessel that is called Russell. That's where I'm talking to you from right now. That's where I'm learning things and I'm still figuring things out. The microcosmic spirit that is working through this vehicle is learning and being impacted and interacting with the interface of this vehicle, interfacing with this vehicle and having feelings that the vehicle is transmitting to my microcosmic spirit. Okay? But that's not who I am, for the sake of perspective. See, when I tell you that we're going to go meditate, you're purposefully trying to change your perspective. You no longer want to be standing here. You're trying to stop, stand still, and feel what it's like to not feel and be the totality of all things. And you can get glimpses of that. But you can do that because that's who you are. But for the sake of structure, you have assigned yourself here. And for the sake of order, there is some electromagnetic or I don't even know what the word is. We're on a level now. What we're talking about is on a level where I don't have the words to talk about this. But believe me, it's there. Just because I can't articulate it don't mean it don't exist. There is something controlling the structure of all of this. That thing is God or some entity it has put in charge of running that part of existence. But ultimately, it's always God, what we call God, okay? Which is really us because everything is a part of God, okay? But no matter where you stand in existence, which is the perspective. You're standing as Russell. You're giving your thoughts and ideas and feeling through feelings, through visions, visualizations, and through thought control. You're giving instructions to the subconscious part of your metaphysical being, and that subconscious machine is creating stuff, but it cannot create ideas. That's your part. That's your job. And you can't manufacture nothing. Only it can do that. You see, that's perspective. There is the thought creator, and then there's the matter creator. The matter creator is what created this vehicle here through some sexual act between two human beings. But it ran that. Okay, it runs everything that is matter in this time-space continuum. Every physical thing that is created, that is physical matter, it comes first from your thought, but it goes to the machine. And the machine moves heaven and earth and all kind of nanites and microscopic energies and electromagnetic neutrons and protons and electrons to create, in exponential growth processes, these physical expressions. Okay, somewhere there's a cross a transition point. I don't know, don't care. Not my job. No, the reason I say it that way is you need to stay where you are. It's good to know about that. It's good to know about God. But right now, this is where we are. We need to stay and focus and get this, do this well. All right, that's what. Only reason I tell you about that stuff so you know it's there and you understand your purpose in relation, relative to that and God. 1, 2, 3, Holy Trinity, all together. Okay, but God is the only one that makes it 3. Everything else in existence is just 2. The only time you can mention the word 3, Trinity, is because you're talking about God. As distinct from the subconscious that is creating. Eddie Coronado helped me to understand. Not Eddie, but Neville Goddard helped me to understand that. And Eddie Coronado also helped me to understand that. These two people, and along with the Rosicrucian and Charles Hennell, these were the pivotal four entities. And as well, five. I have to give it credit to the Rogelio Strawn, who was the one of the spokespeople and leader of the spiritual culture group, which happened to be housed in a Rosicrucian temple. That's how I knew I was in the right place. Remember, see what I said? Righteousness has a look and it has a sound. And Rogelio, what he was articulating was helping me to develop this concept of anatomy. And the first book they give you in spiritual culture is Anatomy, because anatomy tells you about this vehicle. Okay, now what I'm giving you is the anatomy of all existence. Okay, as it relates to you, the microcosmic spirit that was born totally and completely ignorant to what you are and who you are. Okay, I know these are some serious brain grenades, and I want you to go and prove me wrong if you can. I know you can't, because I'm talking about immutable stuff, and you're going to really have to stretch out to find somebody that can validate any of this. There ain't too many people got this going on. It's definitely not about the Holy Trinity, like what we're talking. What I'm laying on you right now, this kind of stuff. Ain't nobody talking about this, and they're certainly not talking about it as clear and down to earth and practical like I'm giving it to you. And that's why I'm doing this, because everybody is trying to make $1 on you, from you. I'm not. I don't care. Don't need it. Don't care about money. I use money, okay, to get to people, to get to you. I use money openly and freely. Money is nothing. It is nothing but a paper product that people value. And so I use the fact that they value it to get to you and give you this information, because this information is way more valuable than gold. Once you know who you are, once you know how to make things manifest in your world, you can make gold manifest in your world. You can make money manifest in your world. And you get this tool down and you get this understanding down, like Coronado and both these cats, Neville Goddard and who's this guy named Eddie Coronado and Neville Goddard. Once you get what these two guys are laying down, to me, they're just the final. What Rhonda Burns and all the crew that she had in The Secret, they put a lot of meat on the bone, but their focus was on teaching you that believing is seeing, not seeing is not believing. See, what she's trying to teach you is that believing will help you see the things that you want get manufactured. Most people see stuff that has been completed and they believe, then only then do they believe. But that's like saying, oh, you know, because somebody threw something in the air and it fell down and said, oh, now I believe gravity exists, which is a valid way of experimenting and learning about gravity. But it's like you're almost like a pet watching something go on. You have no idea of the power you have within your own mind. And that's because you never were taught. And now I'm teaching you what they have been trying to tell everybody. I'm just putting it together in a different kind of package, folks. In a more practical, simple, you know, I'm not going to give you no Moringa cure and all that. You do that in the privacy of your home, when you, because that might work for you to get you in to believe and start using the power that you have within you. I don't care how you get there, Long as you get there and you understand that this is what it's all about. Believing is seeing. Believing is what it's believing is seeing. Seeing is not believing. That doesn't get you anything. That quote, seeing is believing, is backwards. Believing is when you're going to get to see stuff that you want. When you're believing what you're seeing, you're just a spectator. You're looking at stuff that's all somebody else already thought it up. You see what I'm talking about? I want you to think it up. I want you to believe. I want you to feel. I want you to have the thought. I want you to put the feelings behind it. I want you to put the visualization behind it to the point where you believe it already exists. See? And then you're going to see it manifest, come around exactly the way you believed it already existed. So that's why I say believing is actually seeing things come into existence. Believing is seeing. Seeing is not believing. Seeing is the quote of a spectator. Believing is seeing is the quote of a master, of a creator, of a magician who knows how to use the elements and the forces and the authority that is within your being, that you were born with, but you just had no idea. Okay? Believing is seeing. Believing is seeing is the quote of the master, of the magician, of the one who now understands who they are, who she or he is, as a microcosmic being born with the authority to manipulate and use thought, feelings, to create beliefs, and the beliefs is what the machine, and the feelings and the beliefs is what the machine is going to manufacture. That's what this whole lecture in this particular hour is about. It's the concept that believing is seeing, not the other way around. Anybody who tells you seeing is believing, they're spectators. They are neophytes. These are people who have no idea what they're talking about. And what they're talking about is conclusions. Shit, anybody can do that. Anybody can conclude that after something has been created, that it's real. Anybody can do that. You don't have to know those skills to do that. So get your head around this. Become a master. Take this information and practice. How long? Until what you believe, you start seeing. And you do it little by little. Small steps. Practice winning the lottery, small levels. Practice healing people you know in your family who are not well. See them. In other words, visualize them getting well and then seeing it happen. Believing it's possible. Believing it has already happened. Believe it has already happened. Believe that it has already happened. And then see it come into existence. Believe it with all your heart and every fiber in your being that it has already happened. And then be thankful that it has already happened in your visualization. Be thankful, universal spirit. Thank you, subconscious mind. Now you know exactly who you're thanking. Just to say, thank you, God. God don't care. The subconscious mind will care and will react to that gratitude. It won't be happy. The subconscious mind, don't put your human flesh characteristics on the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind don't respond to that. It responds to the fact that you are giving it credit, thanking, and saying, "Oh, okay, I'm moving in the right direction." Okay. Subconscious mind, all it's saying is, "Okay, good, I'll do more of that." Because look, I can feel that you're happy. I can see and feel that this is what I'm empowered and programmed now to create more of what you're saying you already believe you have. Ain't got no time for no feelings. A machine like that can't get into feelings. The only feeling it responds to is gratitude. And really, you know who the gratitude is working on? It always comes back to you. It always comes back to you. The gratitude you're putting out is because you believe the subconscious mind is going to be working harder and better and faster because you are sincere in your gratitude. Okay, cool. That's how this works. Those are the rules. You're sincere in your gratitude, okay. Universal Spirit is still going to work and do what it's supposed to do because your gratitude is sincere. And you believe your gratitude is sincere. It always comes back to you. Do you see how much power you wield? And if you don't believe and you believe some negative stuff by repeating it and putting feelings and stuff behind it, break all that up. If that's not what you want, break it up. Say, nah, I reject that. No, let's stop that. That's not what I want here. Take the record off. Take that needle off the record. Let's put another record on. And every time you see yourself beginning to feel that way, break it. Stop it. And say, that's not what I want to be feeling. I don't want to be feeling this. Consciously take charge. Now that you know, take charge. Because whether you do or not, you're going to suffer what is created. Because believing whatever you believe, that's what you're seeing. Shit is going wrong in your life, it's because you're believing in the wrong stuff. Stop believing in that. Change your mind. How? Little by little, step by step. Break the trend. Break the habit. Catch your mind, catch your spirit, catch your vehicle doing the same thing and expecting different results. No, you got to do something different to get something different. People say, "Oh, I can't do." Well, then good. You keep getting the more crap, all the crap you've been getting. If you're unhappy, if you're not unhappy, then keep doing what you're doing and turn this off and go do something else. You don't need this. This is for people who want to change, who don't like what's going on, who are seeking knowledge, seeking ways and tools and skills and tactics to change what's going on in their lives for the better. And they're ready. They're ready for change. They know there's got to be a better way. And they know they can sense that they can do it, but they just need to know how. And that's what this is about. I'm only seeking to reach one person at a time. I'm only talking to one person right now. Those that are ready. Each one of you uniquely in and of yourself will be ready. And when you are, you'll come to this knowledge. And you'll say, aha, this is what I've been looking for. This brother is dropping science. He's pulling pins on grenades and throwing these ideas and these tactics at me and pulling the pin, and they're exploding and triggering a chain reaction of positive and progressive change in my life, and arming me with tactics that I knew were out there, but I just didn't know how to quite apply them. Do everything little by little, step by step. Forgive your flesh, forgive your vehicle, forgive yourself for not having gotten this sooner. There is no wrong. It's not your fault. It is just that it's time now. You were meant to get this now. It goes back to what Eckhart Tolle talked about, and I mentioned him in my book. It is the power of right now. It's irrelevant, all the things that happened in the past, except to learn what mistakes not to make again. That's what the past is really about. Don't make the same mistakes. Don't make the same mistakes. And make sure you teach your next, when you pass this baton on to somebody else, you teach them about the mistakes you made. That's why it's good to learn and remember your past, so you don't make those same mistakes again. Okay? Believing is seeing. Seeing is not believing. The righteous, the magician, the self-actualized, uh, the self-aware person, entity, being knows. Now you know. Believing is seeing. Seeing is not believing. Seeing is for the spectator. That's for the baby. Babies say seeing is believing. See, they haven't done any work yet. Okay, so they can't even understand what you're talking about. So what you do is you go out and you just tell everybody, you know, that is interested, who you think is worthy for you even bother to even express such a thought. I learned now I'm not expressing no thoughts to anybody I don't think is seeking and has the potential to really understand. And I tell them, listen, hey, believing is what you get. Believing is seeing. Seeing is not believing. Okay? Now, you may believe what I'm saying when you see how much I have created in that sense. Now, you want to know, how did I learn to believe so that I can see what I've wanted in my life? So I'm using believing as seeing. I'm not using seeing as believing. You're using seeing as believing because you can't do it yet. But again, I said, seeing as believing is for the people who can't do, who cannot do, who do not know. They will embrace and say something like, seeing is believing. That's their language. That's their vocabulary, because that's all they know. But once you know what I'm talking about and you have had some successes with believing is seeing, with your controlling your thoughts and your feelings and then ultimately your beliefs, once you control your beliefs to the point where your beliefs are so powerful that you can almost hold a thought and instantaneously, clack, 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 right across the line. Thought, feeling, belief, manifestation. Thought, feeling, belief, manifestation. And you're standing still because you don't have to get all emotional about it because you've had so much success with it in smaller little areas. Now, when you throw it out there, it becomes even more powerful because you know exactly what's going to happen before it even happens. And in the Bible, it says it's the beliefs in things not yet seen, or something to that effect. Was the symbolic quote to try to help you learn about this process. Okay, that's why that's in the Bible, but it's buried amongst a sea of nebulous nonsense. So therefore, it has no value whatsoever. I'm bringing your mind to it so you'll understand it was always there. And this knowledge that you have, you got to remember, you are God, so you already know this stuff. You're just being reminded. It's part of the journey of why you even exist, is to go from not knowing to now finally knowing. 1 minute. I'll be 1 minute. Okay, so that's the end of this video, and we'll pick it up on the next one.